Do you still remember the iconic comedy Friday? The film that once brought us laughter now holds untold stories of struggle and adversity for its cast. While they basked in the glow of Hollywood fame, fate had different plans. Unforeseen accidents sent their lives spiraling downward, forcing them to battle hardships, rebuild, and redefine their futures. Some rose again, finding new purpose. Others faded into obscurity. Where are they now in 2025? Their journeys are more dramatic than any script could have imagined. Join us as we uncover the highs and lows of Friday cast. Lives spiraled downward due to accidents. A reality check behind the scenes. Ice Cube, who portrayed the quick-witted and laid-back Craig Jones in Friday, was 25 years old when he brought to life a young man caught between the pressure of unemployment and the pull of loyalty and dignity. His performance turned Craig into a symbol of everyday resilience in South Central LA. Though his entertainment empire soared, with success in music, film production, and business, his personal life was less triumphant. He married Kimberly Woodruff in 1992, and though their union lasted decades, insiders spoke of a quiet emotional distance between them, exacerbated by his long absences and the burden of fame. They had 5 children, O'Shea Jr., Daryl, Karema, Sharif, and Deja, yet strained relationships with 2 of them have haunted him. Ice Cube endured several losses: the death of his parents in close succession, a near-fatal car accident in 2008, betrayal by business partners, and depression following his sister's overdose. Now 54, he lives in a fortified mansion in Calabasas, isolated from much of Hollywood. Though outwardly thriving, those close to him say he's haunted by regret and missed time with family. His estate is valued at approximately $180 million, but wealth has not softened the sting of a life lived half in the spotlight, half in mourning. Nia Long, who portrayed the grounded and no-nonsense Debbie in Friday, was just 24 when she breathed life into the character, a woman strong enough to reject toxic relationships and kind enough to stand up for others. Her role brought warmth and moral clarity to the chaotic world around Craig. While her career flourished with celebrated roles in both film and television, Nia's personal life was shadowed by repeated heartbreak. She was engaged to NBA coach Ayami Udoka, with whom she had one son, Kez, but their relationship unraveled in 2022 after his public infidelity, a betrayal that deeply wounded her. She has another son, Masai, from a prior relationship, with whom she shares a close, if overprotective, bond. Despite her strength, Nia has faced a string of losses. Her father died in 2020. Her half-sister committed suicide. She quietly battled infertility in her 30s, and her home was burglarized during her divorce proceedings. Now 53, she resides in Los Angeles, still acting, but cautiously. Though revered, she remains guarded, rarely appearing in public. Her estate is estimated at $9 million, but it's the emotional toll, not the financial, that has marked her later years. John Witherspoon, who played the no-nonsense, flatulent, yet wise father Willie Jones in Friday, was 53 when he stepped into the role. His exaggerated facial expressions, comedic timing, and zany advice brought both levity and depth to the film. Off-screen, however, Witherspoon's life was filled with silent struggles. He married Angela Robinson in 1988, and they had 2 sons, Alexander and John David. Though the marriage lasted until his death, it was not without turbulence, marked by financial strain and emotional disconnection brought on by years of touring and unstable income. Witherspoon lost 2 siblings in his lifetime, one to cancer and another to addiction, and he carried guilt over being unable to save them. He suffered from hypertension for years and underwent multiple surgeries. The collapse of a comedy deal in the early 2000s left him bitter and reclusive. He passed away suddenly at age 77 on October 29, 2019, from a heart attack. Despite his immense contributions to black comedy, he often felt underappreciated in Hollywood. His estate was estimated at $4 million, a modest sum that belied the depth of the love and laughter he gave the world. Regina King, who played Craig's assertive and sharp-tongued sister Dana Jones, was 24 when she added fire and familial tension to Friday's ensemble. Her commanding screen presence foreshadowed a career that would later include an Academy Award. Yet behind her accolades lay a series of heartbreaking trials. She married record producer Ian Alexander Sr. in 1997, and their marriage ended in 2007 after allegations of infidelity and emotional neglect. They shared one son, Ian Jr., who was her world, but in 2022, tragedy struck when he took his own life at 26, a loss that devastated her to the core. Regina had already endured her father's abandonment, her mother's battle with cancer, and a stalker incident in 2009 that forced her to move homes. In 2013, a directorial project she nurtured for years collapsed due to internal studio politics, plunging her into a deep depression. Now 53, she lives in quiet retreat, occasionally surfacing for carefully chosen roles or activism work. Her estate is estimated at $16 million, yet she has expressed that no success can fill the void left by her son's passing, which continues to define her private world in mournful silence. Faison Love, who played the slick yet dangerous Big Worm in Friday, was 26 when he brought to life the neighborhood's ice cream truck-driving drug dealer. His blend of comedic timing and menacing charm made Big Worm an unforgettable antagonist. Off-screen, Love's career took a turbulent path. Despite continued work in film and stand-up comedy, he struggled to break free from typecast roles. His personal life has been similarly stormy. Never married, he had a long-term relationship with publicist Naomi Rogers that ended bitterly in 2011 after the birth of their only son, Elijah. Custody disputes and legal issues over child support followed. Estranged from his own father and distanced from siblings, Love often spoke about loneliness in interviews. 5 personal tragedies haunted him: the death of his mother in 2002, his brother's incarceration, a publicized arrest in 2017, a failed sitcom pilot in 2009, and chronic weight-related health issues. Now 55, he lives alone in Atlanta, keeping a low profile while occasionally touring. He has few industry allies left, but maintains a loyal fanbase online. Once a rising star, his estimated estate now sits around $700,000, reduced by legal fees and years of inconsistent work. Angela Means, who portrayed the down-on-her-luck Felicia in Friday, was 31 when she delivered the role that became iconic through the dismissive phrase, "Bye, Felicia." Behind the humor, her character's desperation reflected a haunting realism. Following Friday, Means struggled to escape the shadow of her role. Typecast and overlooked, she left acting altogether by the early 2000s. She married photographer Brad Thomas in 1997, and they had one son, Brad Jr., but the marriage dissolved in 2004 amid reports of infidelity and emotional estrangement. Her son became estranged during his teenage years, citing emotional neglect. Means later opened a vegan restaurant, but it folded in 2020 during the pandemic. She has spoken publicly about her battles with depression, isolation after internet mockery of the Felicia meme, and the death of her sister in 2015. Now 60, she lives modestly in Los Angeles, devoting time to animal rescue and occasional interviews about her past. Despite her hardships, she remains a cult icon. Her estimated estate is around $500,000, much of it tied up in a few remaining business ventures. Kathleen Bradley, who lit up the screen as the seductive Mrs. Parker in Friday, was 46 when she gave life to the flirty neighbor whose mere presence caused chaos. Formerly a model and Barker's beauty. On The Price is Right, Bradley's transition into acting seemed promising. However, her career plateaued after Friday. Married to mechanical engineer Bill Overton since 1988, their union bore one daughter, Cheyenne, but was marred by infidelity on both sides and long periods of separation. Though never officially divorced, Bradley and Overton lived apart for much of the 2000s. The tragic death of her stepson in 2012, a devastating house fire in 2007, the suicide of a former co-star, health scares, and the end of her TV career after being fired from The Price is Right left deep emotional scars. Now 75, she splits time between her modest home in California and her daughter's home in Nevada, occasionally writing memoirs and appearing at nostalgia conventions. Her estimated estate is valued at $900,000, largely sustained by residuals, savings, and limited public appearances. Anthony Johnson, who brought the manic energy of Easel to life in Friday, was just 30 when he played the shamelessly dishonest crack addict whose wild antics made him a scene stealer. Johnson's star briefly rose in the 90s with roles in stand-up and film, but his momentum faded due to battles with substance abuse and legal issues. Never married, he had a complicated relationship with the mother of his 3 children, Anthony Jr., Janice, and Malik. The couple never formalized their union, and by 2004, Johnson had lost custody of all 3 following a DUI-related arrest. Estranged from his children and family, he lived much of his later life in financial insecurity, couch surfing or relying on friends for shelter. He suffered a series of personal tragedies including homelessness in 2010, the overdose death of a close friend in 2015, a heart attack in 2017, his own brief incarceration, and recurring health crises. Johnson passed away on September 6, 2021, at the age of 55, reportedly due to organ failure brought on by chronic alcohol use. At the time of his death, his estate was estimated to be less than $50,000, with fans donating to cover funeral costs. Chris Tucker, who portrayed the unforgettable Smokey in Friday, was just 23 years old in 1995 when he brought to life the fast-talking, weed-smoking friend who constantly dragged Craig into trouble. His hyperactive charisma, comedic timing, and unforgettable one-liners turned Smokey into a cult icon. Despite skyrocketing to fame with Rush Hour and Money Talks, Tucker's post-Friday life was riddled with turbulence. He struggled with IRS debts that reportedly reached over $14 million, forcing him into financial hardship during the 2010s. He married casting director Asja Pryor, with whom he had one son, Destin, but the marriage ended in divorce, and their co-parenting relationship was often strained. Tucker's love life never fully stabilized after that, with short-lived relationships and emotional isolation. He also distanced himself from Hollywood for religious reasons, leading to career stagnation. Behind his infectious smile, Tucker battled anxiety, guilt over his past excesses, and the weight of fame. Though he made a modest return to stand-up comedy, his career never regained its earlier momentum. At 53, he lives a quieter life, reportedly single and mostly reclusive. Once worth tens of millions, his current estate is estimated around $3 million, a far cry from his peak but still reflective of a legacy that once burned bright. Tom Lister Jr., who portrayed the menacing Debo in Friday, was 37 years old in 1995 when he donned the role of the bike-stealing, chain-wearing neighborhood tyrant. His cold stares and physical dominance gave Debo an unforgettable, terrifying presence. Off-screen, Lister had aspirations beyond intimidation. He pursued wrestling and appeared in numerous films, but remained typecast, often playing villains or enforcers. Lister married Felicia Forbes in 2003, and they had one daughter, Faith, but the marriage suffered under the strain of his erratic schedule, health issues, and financial instability. Lister's vision impairment, respiratory problems, and a COVID-19 diagnosis added to his physical decline. Emotionally, he struggled with depression, disillusionment from Hollywood, and a lingering desire to break free from his villainous screen persona. He reportedly filed for bankruptcy in 2012. Despite his conversion to Christianity and attempts to live clean in later years, he was found dead in 2020 at age 62 due to heart disease complicated by COVID-19. At the time of his death, his estate was estimated at just $100,000, a tragic reflection of a life once full of promise, derailed by both typecasting and inner demons. Anna Maria Horsford, who portrayed Betty Jones, the firm but loving matriarch in Friday, was 48 years old when she delivered a performance laced with realism and sharp maternal instincts. Her character served as both comic relief and grounding force amid the film's chaos. Horsford's career endured, with roles in The Bold and the Beautiful and the Wayans Brothers, but personal fulfillment often eluded her. Though she married Daniel Wolfe in the early 2000s, the marriage ended in a quiet divorce after a decade marked by emotional distance and conflicting lifestyles. They had no children, a decision she later described as both a blessing and a burden. Her family relationships became fractured, especially after the deaths of her parents, which left her increasingly isolated. Horsford suffered several losses in close succession: her brother, her longtime manager, and 2 close friends, which led to prolonged depression. Despite her dignified public appearances, those close to her noted a lingering sorrow and detachment. Now 77, she lives in modest comfort, reportedly in Pasadena, often declining interviews and appearances. Her estate is estimated at $1.5 million, largely from past acting royalties and wise financial planning, though she lives a frugal, solitary life. Paula Jai Parker, who portrayed Joy, the fiery, suspicious girlfriend of Craig, in Friday, was 25 years old when she stepped into the comedic yet emotionally volatile role. Her exaggerated jealousy and confrontational style made her a hilarious foil in the film. Though her performance gained recognition, Parker's career faced frequent obstacles. Typecasting limited her roles, and after a brief stint in higher-profile projects, she found herself on the fringes of Hollywood. In 2004, she married Forrest Martin, an actor she met while filming, and they had one son, Wonderful. Financial hardship plagued the family for years. At one point, Parker revealed they were living in a homeless shelter despite her previous success. The marriage, although supportive on the surface, grew tense under the weight of constant financial stress and unfulfilled aspirations. Personal tragedies, including the deaths of 2 close relatives, a miscarriage, and repeated battles with industry rejection, deepened her emotional scars. Parker turned to independent film and voice acting to stay afloat. Now 54, she lives with her son, often juggling gigs while advocating for Black actresses facing industry bias. Her estate is estimated around $500,000, a modest sum shaped by perseverance amid relentless adversity. DJ Pooh, who portrayed the timid and perpetually unlucky Red in Friday, was 26 years old when the film was released in 1995. His portrayal of a nervous neighborhood resident constantly bullied, most famously by Debo who stole his bike and chain, brought comic relief and made Red one of the film's most memorable characters. While DJ Pooh found initial success in the entertainment industry as a writer, producer, and actor, his post-Friday career was marked by industry frustrations and creative projects that often stalled in development. He never married but was in a long-term relationship with costume designer Leah Thompson, which ended after a miscarriage in 2003 that strained them beyond repair. He fathered one child, a son named Elijah, born in 2006 from a brief relationship with a screenwriter, but their co-parenting arrangement deteriorated over custody disputes. Pooh became increasingly reclusive in the late 2010s, battling depression and anxiety, particularly after losing his mother, brother, and mentor within 5 years. Financial instability plagued him after poor investments and unpaid royalties from early music and film work. Now 56, he lives quietly in the outskirts of Los Angeles, occasionally consulting on scripts. His current estate is estimated at $400,000, a fraction of what it once was during his career peak. Vicki Lynn Reynolds, who played Joanne at age 37 in Friday, portrayed a chatty, watchful neighbor who added authenticity and humor to the film's neighborhood dynamic. Though her role was brief, she brought warmth and timing that resonated with audiences. Reynolds had already built a solid career in film and television before Friday, but after the film, roles became scarce. She struggled to escape typecasting, and her attempts at a singing career faltered after her debut album failed to chart. Reynolds married fellow actor Leonard Bell in 1999, but their marriage ended in a bitter divorce in 2007 after years of financial hardship and infidelity rumors. They had 2 daughters, Maya and Kenya, both of whom are estranged from Reynolds, citing emotional neglect during their upbringing. Reynolds faced multiple personal tragedies, a battle with breast cancer in 2011, losing her father in a fire, and the foreclosure of her family home. Now 67, she resides alone in a modest apartment in Pasadena, volunteering at local theaters. Her current estate is valued at approximately $150,000, largely supported by modest SAG-AFTRA pension benefits. Bernie Mac, who brought larger-than-life energy to the role of Pastor Clever at age 37, made his brief appearance in Friday unforgettable with his comedic timing and flirtatious sermons. A rising star at the time, Mac would go on to become one of comedy's most beloved figures, starring in The Bernie Mac Show and several Hollywood blockbusters. However, behind the fame lay a turbulent personal journey. Mac married Rhonda Gore in 1977, and while their marriage lasted until his death, it was often strained by his career demands and health issues. They had 1 daughter, Janice, but Bernie often expressed regret over missing key moments in her upbringing. Chronic sarcoidosis plagued him for years, causing frequent hospitalizations. He also endured the deaths of both parents, battled depression, and suffered from the pressures of fame, often describing himself as smiling through pain. Mac died on August 9, 2008, at the age of 50 due to complications from pneumonia. Despite his untimely death, he left behind a lasting legacy in comedy and film. At the time of his passing, his estate was estimated to be worth $15 million. Who is your favorite character from Friday? How does it feel knowing that some of the actors are no longer with us? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on future uploads. Thank you for your support.